So we're out on the range today to do a short demonstration on the effect that barrel length has on the spread of shot shells. Stick around. So the first gun we're going to use today is my Mossberg 500 with an 18.5-inch barrel. This gun is in 12 gauge and we're going to shoot some 7.5-inch birdshot through it and measure its spread. Then we're going to swap barrels to the 28-inch barrel, shoot again, and see how big of a difference the longer barrel makes on the tightness of our spread. So let's get to it. So I've got my target set out at about 10 paces. We're going to take one shot with those 7.5s out of this Mossberg 12 gauge, and we'll go down there and measure them. We'll swap the barrels, take another shot. Let's do it. All right, let's go measure them. Okay, so at about 10 paces, looks like our two furthest apart BBs. We've got one here, one down here, one way over here, and then I think about there is going to be the furthest. So that's going to give us a top to bottom spread of 18 inches and a left to right spread of 18 inches. So it's safe to say 18 inches all around. So let's replace this piece of paper, swap out that barrel, shoot it again, and see if we have any difference at 10 paces. All right, now we've got our 28-inch barrel, and it's worth mentioning because I know it's going to come up. Yes, the 18.5-inch barrel had no choke. It's just cylinder bore. I do not have a cylinder bore long barrel. I mean, I could take this choke out, but I don't want to risk damaging the threads that are up here. But this is an improved cylinder choke that's in the end of this 28-inch barrel, and the improved cylinder choke is just the the least constrictive choke that I have for this particular barrel. So we'll take one shot again, 10 paces away. 10 paces is about, I mean, I would say for most homes, it's gonna be the furthest distance you'll be able to get. Now, in my house, I may have one spot that might be 15 paces, but this is gonna be, at the longest you would need for, home security purposes. Not that I'm advocating even for birdshot for home security, but that's why we're not, moving out further than 10 paces. Other than that, like once we get further than 10, that cylinder bore barrel, it may have BBs that go beyond that paper. So with that being said, let's take a shot with our 28-inch barrel. All right, let's go check it out. Okay, I can already tell it is much smaller than our first spread. Also, so much of it was concentrated toward the middle that it blew a nice hole through our plywood here. But let's mark our BBs. So it looks like left to right, these two here are going to be the ones by which we measure. Up and down, we've got one there, one here. So let's measure those out. So left to right, we've got a furthest spread of 10.5 inches. Up and down, we've got about 9.25 inches. So much tighter of a spread coming from our longer barrel. And it's not all the choke. That longer barrel does have an effect. Even at these shorter distances, you'll see a bigger spread for our smaller barrel, smaller spread for the longer barrel, right? Now we're going to do the same thing using a different kind of ammunition. I've got this Mossberg 500 loaded up with double-aught buck now, and we're going to take one shot with the short barrel, switch over to the 28-inch barrel, and try it again. So let's do it. Let's go check it out. So it's worth mentioning that I expected to get a much tighter pattern out of that. Like, that's a fist-sized pattern at 10 paces, guys. That just goes to show you, you know, I mean, this is, I would say, a pretty large room if it was going to be in your house. You still need to aim with a shotgun because you are putting this downrange. You're not putting this downrange when you're using buckshot. So let's measure it out. I think our furthest ones would be there, there, then here, and here. So one way we've got a 3-inch spread. The other way also a 3-inch spread. So you're sending a 3-inch, basically a softball downrange, you know, at regular home defense distances. Now let's see how big of a difference that longer barrel will make with this same buckshot. Now the same double-aught buck with the longer barrel. Let's go check that out. So, kind of surprising here, guys. Looks like we actually got a larger spread with that longer barrel. So let's measure these. I'm not going to mark them because the holes are kind of big enough to see, but up to down we've got 3 3/4 inches. Left to right, it looks like 3 inches. So a larger spread size there. So with buckshot, I mean, it appears that longer barrel or shorter barrel, you're going to end up with about that same, that 3, 3.5. In this case, one of the pellets went a little higher than that. But you're launching that same softball down the hallway, guys. So with birdshot, which is why we started with birdshot, you'll see a faster spread quicker than you will with buckshot. And I've got one more shotgun that has a full choke on it, and we'll see if that full choke makes any difference over our cylinder bore 18.5 inch and our improved cylinder 28 inch. So let's give that a shot. So now I've got my over and under Traditions by Fausti shotgun. It is also 12 gauge. It has 28 inch barrels. The top barrel is a full choked barrel, and the bottom barrel is a modified choked barrel. Now these have interchangeable chokes at the end. They do not interchange with the Mossberg barrels though, so that's why we brought this guy out. So let's take one shot with the full choked barrel and see if it makes a difference at 10 paces. Let's go see. Does not appear that it makes that big of a difference when using double-aught buck. We still have, let's see, we still got a pattern that is 4 inches by, in this case we don't have a good left to right spread, so let's just take another reading here. So that one, again, right at 3 3/4, 4 inches, and then right next to it we've got a 3.5. So very similar patterns coming down toward Mr. Bad Guy when using buckshot at 10 paces. So we'll say double-aught buck, 28 inch full choke. Now we've tested the shotguns. But shotguns aren't the only thing that can shoot shot shells. CCI and Federal both make shot shell ammos that are in what are typically, you know, handgun rounds or even 22 long rifle rounds. So now we're going to use a rifled barrel on some shot shells, see if we get any kind of difference. So now we're going to run a similar drill using handguns with rifled barrels, shooting shot shells. So I've got this CCI aluminum case shot shell. They're advertised as snake shot or rat shot. They come in, I believe, just maybe 2 sizes. So this, I think, is a number 8 shot. So we've got 2 of these. They're sold as like a 38 special / 357 ammo because, you know, interchangeability and stuff. So we're going to take a couple shots with these, and then we're going to use this CCI Big 4 shot shell. So this has number 4 shot in it. You can see these, they're in store occasionally. The blue shot shells you see a lot more often, or at least I do. But you can tell these apart. One, they have much larger shot inside of them. Second, they have a red tip instead of a blue tip. The short barreled gun I'm going to use is my Smith & Wesson 442. It has a 1 7/8 inch, I believe, barrel. And we're going to be shooting at a lot closer distances. So instead of 10 paces out, we're more like 4 paces out. These are, sold for pest control. I'm not going to get much closer than 4 paces to a snake, but these do spread rather quickly. So we're going to take one shot out of this 1 7/8 inch barrel. And then for my long barrel, I've got this GP100 with a 6-inch barrel. So this is a gun that's, that I borrowed for this video. It actually belongs to a friend of mine, Dr. Garrett Hall. If you're not subscribed to his channel, you should check it out. I'll link it down below. He is a historian. His channel is full of, old historic firearms or reproductions, as well as several stories about history and some touring of historical locations. So yeah, for sure, check his channel out. Go like and subscribe there as well. So 6-inch barrel, 1 7/8 inch barrel. Let's go ahead and take this one. So again, we're at very short distances here. We're just going to take a quick shot, and just like before, we'll measure it out. Let's take a look. All right, at 4 paces, we've got here, let's see, we've got one shot way up here, one way down here, one right there, and one up here. So let's measure these out. Got 11 3/4 inches one way, 10 1/2 inches the other way. Let's see if we see a similar pattern to what we saw with the longer versus shorter barrels with the shotguns with these handguns. So let's swap this out and switch over to our 6-inch barrel. So now let's see what the 6-inch barrel can do. Again, those same 4 paces out. Some snake shot. All right, let's check that out. Now you'll see these tears down here. I believe that's just part of that blue case that's coming out. But we do have some very clear signs of shot shells coming up and around. I mean, it's very obvious here. So let's take a look. Gonna mark there, and it looks like here, and then there, and here. Eight inches, 7 1/2 inches. Now, this is sort of surprising because what you hear, and it may just be because I've got, such a difference in barrel length, but conventional wisdom says that a rifled barrel would spread those shots out very quickly, right? And since we have a short rifled barrel versus a long rifled barrel, it should spin more out of the long rifled barrel and send your shot flying further. That's not what happened here. Now, I'm not saying that that's, going to happen every time either, but that's generally what you hear. So it seems that with enough of a barrel difference in the 1 7/8 inch barrel versus the 6-inch barrel, you can get a tighter pattern out of rifled barrels. But let's try that number 4 and see if we get a different result. All right, now we're going to try our number 4 shot shells out of the Smith & Wesson 442 at that same, 4 paces, and see if the size of the shot shell makes any difference on the size of the spread out of these two very different barrel sizes. All right, let's measure it up. So it looks like, again, we got these pieces out here. That's just pieces of that red, not really a wad, but you know, the red thing at the tip that keeps all the shot together. So let's find where we actually have holes. Looks like we've got holes here and I think there. So let's see, got one there and one for sure here. So measure that, 4.5 inches. Got one there and one for sure here. Another 4.5 inches. Now, let's take this GP100 and see if we get any different results. Now the GP100. Let's measure it up. So again, we've got a ton. Oh man, it's really wedged in there. This this red cap. Now we have sort of a different story here. If I can find the holes that correspond with these holes on the paper. Let's find where we actually have shot holes. There we go. Do they go all the way down here? They do, okay. Sorry, the page isn't all the way lining up with where the holes went in. So, let's see. Yeah, we got one right there. One up here, that'll get us one measurement. Did we get one here? We did. And looks like right here. Yep. Now with that, I wonder if we had any holes up here. We did. I think we might have. We may have to do a remeasure here, just to check. So let's measure this. So we've got 6.5 inches and 8 1/4 inches. So without even having to remeasure this, I can say that this is a much larger spread with the larger shot. All right, I've got A10s flying over me right now. Pretty cool, yeah. We'll let them pass. In the meantime, I'm gonna remeasure this. It's like, where did it go? Is that a hole there? Let's see. Well, looks like it may have been. Okay, so let's call these holes here and that. Let's measure that out. 6.5. That seems to be the biggest. So we do, in this case, get a wider spread with the larger shot. So it works inversely to what we experienced with the shotguns, right? So in this case, our smaller shot, we got pretty much the same pattern, with really the longer barrel even given sort of a tighter pattern, right? And our larger shot in this case really seems to catch that rifling and sprawl out a little quicker. So I'll just circle these. So what have we learned? Well, we've learned that shot shells are not exactly consistent from one shot size to the next, right? We also learned that rifled barrels, while they will normally give you sort of a wider spread at closer distances, this snake shot at 4 paces still does send a pretty tight group down. It doesn't spread out super fast like I've seen with other types of, you know, shotgun type handguns. For example, something like a Taurus Judge would fill that entire page up with a shot of 2.5 inch 410. Maybe that'll be a test for another day. We'll find out. But I want to thank you guys for checking out the channel again. For my longtime subscribers, I appreciate you sticking around. For the new folks, please do subscribe. Check us out here, but also go to Instagram and give us a follow there if you're on Instagram. I'm hoping Meta softens up on this type of content. Until then, we may have to push more cooking videos to Instagram. So if you're into that, please subscribe here. Check us out on Instagram as well. It is @YonderOak, same as the name of the channel here. Thank you guys for stopping by.